Alright, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host, Chuck Stevens. So, I wanted to make a follow-up to my last video when I was talking about, Combate Global lacks directions with their women's divisions. And I said in that video that one of the biggest things that they need to do is to create championships for their three women's divisions and set up title fights. So I got to thinking, and I decided that I was going to make a follow-up and talk about, the three title fights that they should make. And I think this would go, honestly, the longest way in really making your women's division seem like worth paying attention to. And it's a great reward for the fighters, because if you have a championship, like every competitive athlete dreams of competing for, a title, a championship, something. You have to give your competitive athletes a goal to work towards. And in combat sports, a championship is that goal. So it gives the fighter something to work towards besides, their next paycheck. So Combate has three women's divisions: Atomweight, Strawweight, and Flyweight. And I came up with three title fights that they should make based on, honestly, the easiest plan that Combate could implement. You take the number one ranked fighter in each division and then rank them against the next highest ranked fighter that's coming off a win. It's not always going to be number one and number two, but it's the best way to do it. And it prevents you from having someone coming off a loss fighting for the championship. So let's go ahead and get into these fights. Starting off at the bottom, let's start with Atomweight. You take number one ranked Anna Palacios and put her in against number two ranked Claire Lopez. And boom, there's your Atomweight title fight. And this should be a good one. Now, Lopez has not yet fought at Atomweight, but for whatever reason, Combate ranked her at Atomweight. So go ahead and make it. Excuse me. Lopez has been calling for this fight. She says she can make Atomweight. She says that's where she wants to fight, even though she's been fighting at Strawweight. And they ranked her number two for some reason. So boom, number one versus number two. Palacios is 7-1-1. Lopez is 7-4. Both ladies coming off a win. Palacios last fought July 15th. She's coming off a submission win over Bohyun Park. Lopez last fought in August. She's coming off a submission win over Camila Rivarola. Both ladies finished their last opponent via submission in the first round. Lopez is 9 years the elder, 33-24, and they're about the same height and reach and everything. Like there's only like an inch or two difference in each category. So I think this would be a good fight. Palacios, very dangerous on the ground. Her stand-up needs work, but very, very dangerous on the ground. And it seems like she's actually adopted a strategy where she lets her opponent knock her down sometimes, and then just invites her opponent to follow up onto the ground, and then boom, traps her. And that's very interesting to watch. Lopez is dangerous on the feet and on the ground. She has wins by knockout. She has wins by submission. This would be a very fun fight. It's that easy to make. Go ahead and make it, Combate. Crown your first Atomweight queen, which you've been waiting for years to do since you were Combate Americas. Then we move up to Strawweight. Here you take number one, Carolyn Gallardo, and then had to go down a few spots to find a fighter that was coming off a win. So you match her up against number four, Andrea Amaro. Boom, there you go. There is your Strawweight title bout. Gallardo, she's 8-4 as a pro. Amaro, 3-2. Looks like they're about the same age. Amaro's 1 year elder at 27-26 for Gallardo. Not a whole lot to say here. Gallardo, she is one of the toughest fighters you'll see. She can absolutely take shots and keep coming forward and delivering her own. She also hits very hard. Amaro, not nearly as experienced, doesn't have as good of excuse me, as good of wins as Gallardo, but she is ranked number 4. That's the best one you can come up with, or that's your best solution. Get this fight made, crown a champion. Then we have, this might be my favorite matchup of the 3 at flyweight. Number 1, Maritza Sanchez taking on number 2, Melissa Amaya. Both have very similar records. Sanchez is 3-1, Amaya is 4-0. Very close in age. Amaya is 27 to Sanchez is 24. Nice big difference though in the height and the reach though. Sanchez is 5'7", 170 centimeters to 5'4", 162 centimeters for Amaya, and the reach advantage, if this is to be believed, is ridiculous. 72 inches, 183 centimeters for Sanchez to 64 inches, 162.5 centimeters for Amaya. This is a very exciting fight. I've been keeping my eye on both of these young ladies. Sanchez has some good wins. She has a win over Lucero Acosta, who is very popular, La Loba. Amaya, undefeated. I think this is a very easy match to make. Not only are they number 1, number 2, you've got the aesthetics there too. Both are young, good-looking women. And they both have exciting styles. Both are very aggressive. Both like to stand and trade, but aren't afraid to go to the ground. I think, to me, this fight is an absolute no-brainer. Now, one hitch. Both of these ladies have fights coming up against opponents who aren't their own. Melissa Amaya is fighting 2 days from the time of this recording against Alitzel Mariscal. I think she should have no problem with Alitzel. Alitzel's moving up in weight again for this fight on short notice, and she's like 0-3 in her last 3 at Strawweight. Sanchez is fighting November, I want to say 18th. I'm not sure who the opponent is, but as long as these two make it through their next opponents, boom, match them up against each other. Number 1, number 2, your inaugural flyweight championship is set. Now, of course, it's not just about making these title fights. It's about getting people interested. So I have a very simple implementation strategy to use. Okay? And it starts with actually announcing these title fights ahead of time. Combate Global doesn't announce their fights until Tuesday of fight week, and they normally fight on Friday. This weekend they're fighting on Sunday because they're going to follow up on a big soccer game. But normally, the fights are on Friday, and they don't announce the matchups until Tuesday of fight week. That's like 3 days out. You can't generate any interest in fights if you're only announcing them 3 days out. Now, a couple weeks ago, they had Lucero Acosta versus, I can't remember her name, but they actually announced that one several weeks out. And there was, some excitement coming in for that fight. There was some hype, a little bit of hype surrounding it, and it got really good ratings. So you have to announce these fights ahead of time. Bare minimum, announce these title fights 1 month out. That gives enough time for, the excitement to build, for the awareness to get out there. And in that month, you've got work to do. You're a fight promotion. Act like a promoter. Okay? You've got to use social media to promote the fight. At least once a day, you've got to mention something on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else is out there. You've got to get the announcements done. Do announcements, do countdowns, updates, give training updates. Gotta use social media to build interest in your fights. Also, use YouTube. You have a YouTube account, Combate. Use YouTube. Make original buffer programming or shoulder programming, whatever you want to call it. Buffer programming, shoulder programming that gets people interested in this fight, like countdown videos, fighter profiles, a day in the life of, what have you. Use that to generate some interest in these fights. Also, even if you're not going to hold the fights out in public, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, hold a public weigh-in. Give the public something to go see and get excited for. And when it comes to ladies, hold the weigh-ins in public. People like good-looking girls. That's just the way it is. So hold the weigh-ins, hold public weigh-ins. And also, finally, and this is the biggest thing, Combate needs to do this, and this is why I feel like they're just being treated, and they basically treat themselves like, a time slot filler. Get out of the TV studio. Get out on location and sell tickets. You want people to be excited about your product? People get way more excited when they can see it in person. They've been in that TV studio down there in Miami for far too long now. Okay, the COVID scare is over. Time to get back out there in the public. Every other promotion out there is holding fights in front of crowds. Get out of the TV studio. Let the public see these title fights happen in person. You want to build excitement? Nothing builds excitement quite like having a broadcast with a live crowd in attendance cheering on for the fighters. So those are my quick little thoughts here. 3 title fights Combate Global should make to really get their divisions up and running properly, and also the right implementation strategy to get people excited about it. So those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like. While you're at it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to Wmma Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.